Very good morning, everyone. You're welcome to today's episode of the Market Snapshot. You're joined by Norbert Kiza. I'm happy to be back with you guys today for us to go through the markets. I hope you guys have been having a fantastic week and you've been able to catch a lot of the moves in the markets this week. The market has been relatively good this week. We've had numerous opportunities. We've been seeing quite a lot of what's been happening on a number of the charts. Like the Euro USD, GBP USD, gold yesterday had a very nice sell opportunity, and we're going to be reviewing some of the charts to see what's been happening, plus also to give you guys an update on also what's been happening generally with news. So looking quickly at the current prices for the various assets. We've had a euro session with a bit of recovery for the risk on currencies like the euro USD, GBP USD pairs, AUD USD pairs, NZ USD have made a bit of a recovery. Yesterday we had a bit of a sale during the US session, which I believe might have caught a number of traders off guard. We saw gold actually selling all the way to 2000, from 2360 to about 2327. Again, silver was also selling, and likely these sales that we had on them was largely because we were having the price getting discounted. We are getting a bit of a discount from what's from the higher prices that we saw earlier in the week. Crossing over to crypto also was also on a very heavy sale last week, rather yesterday, and we also saw the same thing on the stocks. But of course, the main stock that seemed to have performed relatively well, despite the heavy selling momentum, was Nvidia. And of course, we are going to go through Nvidia here. There are a number of things that propelled Nvidia higher, and of course, one of them were the blockbuster earnings. The demand for Nvidia's chips is also one of the things that is enabling Nvidia to have a higher price. And of course, we shall discuss more when we cross over to the charts. Boeing also was a main highlight for markets this week, and most especially yesterday. We had some announcements from Boeing, and of course, the main announcement was from the Chinese regulator, which of course indicated that they need more certification documents from Boeing. And of course, the reason why, for those of you that trade indices, why you saw a very big sell on the US 30 roll was largely because of Boeing being a laggard. Boeing was down as much as 7%, and of course, that is why we saw a relatively weak stock. Um, Crossing over to Yahoo Finance, we're just going to go through the Boeing chart for you to see essentially how Boeing is performing. Looking, of course, at Boeing here, you can see that it was down about 7.5% as of yesterday. And of course, that pull back down on Boeing had a lot to do with the announcement that we got from the announcement that we got from the Boeing, rather from China. So essentially, what's happening is, I'm sure most of you have noticed that first of all, the share price for Boeing has not been performing well. It's down about 33% on year to date. But in addition to that, the other thing, of course, is that we have been observing with Boeing is that it also has not been doing performing well generally with its share price. But also, we've also observed that we've been having also a bit of a raft with planes. A number of Boeing planes have actually been involved in a number of accidents. We've seen what happened recently with the Singapore airline. Singapore Airlines recently had very heavy turbulence that had a lot of people on board getting injuries. Some of them even got brain injuries. Now, that of course is one of the reasons why we are having Boeing performing relatively poorly. But also we also got some information from Boeing's CFO, who indicated in a report yesterday that they are going to have cash flow problems as they go into Q2. And of course, this is because the one of their main markets, which is China, has indicated that they need more certification documents. I did more digging, and I also was able to find out that apparently Boeing did not pass all of its um, like its approvals for the plane to be approved. Some of their planes scored about 60% on approval ratings from the FAA of the US. So which means Boeing's planes actually have a number of issues. So that's why the stock is down. I don't know why my chart is not loading, but it's also one of the reasons why we have a relatively weak Dow Jones yesterday. Now, crossing over to NVIDIA, Nvidia had blockbuster earnings, and Nvidia's share price crossed above $1,000, and that's one of the reasons why, if you guys check on UT 100 roll with FX Pesa, you'll notice that one of the reasons where we are having a relatively weak, rather strong UT 100 on Nasdaq is a lot to do with Nvidia. So Nvidia right now is above $1,000. But in addition to this, the other thing also is that they also announced a stock split. So for those of you that might not know what a stock split is, a stock split is where a company decides to make its share price cheaper. So they will do it in a way in which you call a stock split. So if, for instance, I have one Nvidia share, and one Nvidia share is going for say maybe $1,037. If they split, in this case they are splitting 10 for 1. Okay, so which means a new a new person who is to buy Nvidia will buy it for maybe at the current price that would be about $103. But for me, who already has an Nvidia share, for every one Nvidia share I have, I'm going to get 10 new shares, which will match up the price. Okay, so stock splits are typically done so that they get more people investing, or they get more they get more investors. Or but even for you guys that are trading CFDs, you can still be able to buy Nvidia on FX Pesa for $103, and if you hold it maybe for the next say maybe 3-4 months, you can be able to hold it for a much higher price. Okay, so that's essentially what's going on with Nvidia. And of course, we are seeing how the price has been steadily rising. If you look at it on a 6-month basis, you can see it's actually been up quite nicely. Awesome. So I think it's time to cross over to the charts. We had some data today for the UK retail sales, and we saw, of course, UK retail sales have also declined. There's a bit of a general slowdown in consumer spending. We've been seeing this, on the different economies are getting affected. The US is affected. We've also seen that with Japan is also getting affected. We saw its CPI was down, and of course that decrease on inflation has a lot to do with the spending. When consumer spending reduces, I think it takes a downturn for a lot of these currency pairs. So possibly why we should potentially see a weak GBP/USD has a lot to do with that data that we got from today. So let's cross over to the charts, guys. If in case you have any questions regarding that, feel free to let me know so that I can go over whatever question you guys might have. So we are going to cross over to the charts. For the charts, we are going to be reviewing a few things. We are going to start with the US 30 roll. So US 30 roll, again, my apologies, guys. I'll be a little quick because we have a number of charts that I want to go through. So we are going to start with US 30 roll. So US 30 roll is available on FX Pesa for trading. And of course, what we've observed with US 30 roll is that it has had a healthy pullback from record levels. And of course, as you can see, we've seen US 30 roll pulling back from as high as 40,067. Okay, so this record high essentially has a lot to do. This pullback is a healthy pullback, but one of the reasons why we saw the pullback being aggressive, especially yesterday, was because of Boeing. Okay, so Boeing was down about 7%. Boeing contributes a lot. It's a big component. It's a big component on the Dow. So the reason why we saw it down a bit yesterday was because of Boeing. So Boeing was down about 7%, and of course, I'm sure it pushed the Dow quite lower. So going into trading today, I'm expecting us to see a bit of a recovery for the Dow Jones. We should see a recovery going into the US session to come and recover from that low that we had, possibly at least take us into back to this level of about 39,385. We have some kind of a slight uptrend that is forming. If you look at the lower time frames, you'll be able to observe that we have created some kind of a formation to move back higher. So if we break out of this rising trend, then we should see the Dow Jones move higher and possibly move closer to that 200-day moving average for higher levels. Now, on the H4 time frame, we've seen that we have actually been able to pull back quite aggressively. We pulled back to 7th May levels, which is around here, but we should see a temporary push higher, possibly to these levels, and then we should see the trend for the downtrend continue. Now, crossing over to NASDAQ, I have my NASDAQ somewhere here. I think it's somewhere here. Okay. So for NASDAQ, if you recall, when we last went over NASDAQ, we observed that Nasdaq actually has been in a very, very strong uptrend. And this uptrend, of course, we saw that there was actually a golden cross. The golden cross appeared at this price of 17,775. So yesterday, Nasdaq had a very strong pullback from this level here. And I believe this, to me, I think is the temporary peak for the Nasdaq. If you go on the H4 time frame, rather on the daily, we've been in a steady uptrend on a Nasdaq from this level here, and I believe the uptrend has stopped for now. Okay, so we should see over the next few weeks, possibly we are going to see the Nasdaq pulling back. But for trading today, if you look, if you're considering trading today, we should see a move higher for the Nasdaq. We are already seeing that there's already a break of structure at this point, and I believe that the break of structure is going to continue, where we should see the Nasdaq moving higher in this uptrend, possibly to come and test that 50-day moving average around 18,747. Now, since yesterday's move had a lot to do with the news from Boeing, and I believe also one of the reasons why we had a lot of the markets getting affected. The most we can get, I've added my fib retracements there. So we should see at least a move possibly to the 50% of that fib, which is around 18,746. I do not expect us to break into the premium zone above that 50% retracement, but should we maintain price action at least closer to the 50% retracement, then it's likely that we might have a reattempt of price closer to that golden ratio of 618. So now, usually when I add my fib levels, this is how I usually like to do it. So I'll want to normally add my price along to the fibs so that it's easier for me to track and also easier for me to look at the best entry points. Okay. So if I'm looking for a buy on a NASDAQ, the best time for me to buy it would have been yesterday before the close, which was at 18,553. But you can see that now it's already moving higher, and it's now coming to eat into this price that was a very bit of an impulsive move. Okay. So one thing that I can advise you guys, especially if you're trading indices, whenever you have one particular laggard for the previous trading day, like for instance, yesterday we saw Apple was down, we saw Boeing was down. Okay. When you have one laggard and that laggard recovers the next trading day, you should be looking for buys. Okay. So you look for buys, and in this case, you might want to set your stop loss at yesterday's bottom, which is somewhere here, because if we break structure to the downside, that would mean that Nasdaq is going to come and continue selling. But I don't expect Friday today to be a heavy selling day. We should see the market recovering into the close, possibly to these levels here. Okay. Without wasting time, I think I can cross over to. Okay, I'm through, I think, with this. So let me just go to GBP/USD on the H4. So GBP/USD yesterday created a temporary peak. That was, sorry, 21st, the 21st of May created a temporary peak at 1.27587. However, the structure is still showing that we are in an uptrend for GBP/USD, as you can see on the H4 time frame. So this uptrend should hold. However, we are going to change structure, or we are going to change the kind of trend we are seeing when we break below 1.26452. So you can see on the H4 time frame, we are still above the 50-day moving average. So we should see a temporary recovery higher for GBP/USD. As of today morning, it of course had a bit of a sell, and the reason for that was because of the retail sales data. But we should see a temporary recovery there, and of course, the recovery should enable us to create a higher low, rather a lower high, that will take GBP/USD lower over the next few weeks. But for now, we should see it possibly there. Now, my retracements, as you can see, my retracements are drawn on the higher time frame, and there's a purpose for that. Okay, that's simply because I would want to be able to tell where my premium and discount zones are. So for GBP/USD, since we are above the 50% retracement, it's clearly in a premium zone. Okay, so in a premium zone, but it's not in an extreme premium zone, because the extreme premium zones are closer to the 1.28 level. Okay, so we haven't yet gotten that high. But soon enough, I believe we are going to go a high altitude that should take us to as high as 1.28. Okay. Now, the other thing I need to mention, this is important, and I would want you guys to listen clearly, especially if you trade GBP/USD and Euro/USD. We are going into an election season very soon. The UK elections are happening in July. Okay, that's one. Expect potentially some turbulence there for GBP/USD. We should see possibly GBP/USD moving slightly lower before it moves back higher. Second thing is we also have the US election. Okay, so the US election is going to support a higher GBP/USD. However, since there's a UK election, GBP/USD is most likely going to sell into July and into August, and then we should see a recovery sometime in September towards the US election in November. So I believe that the UK election is going to expect a weaker pound as you're going into, the elections in July. So crossing over to to Euro USD. Euro USD, last time when we met on Friday, I remember Malombe, you the one who asked about what would happen with GBP/USD. I believe we're actually able to see a very nice break above our descending wedge. I think you can see that descending wedge I drew quite nicely. That was on Friday last week, snapshot. So we saw the market actually retracing a little bit. And of course, we had a full body candle showing very strong imbalance to the upside. Okay, so that imbalance actually, you can see we had this forming on the H4 time frame. However, as we go into end of this week, what I've observed is that Euro USD has started to form some kind of a declining structure, and of course on the H4 time frame, it is anytime from now it's going to cross into the discount zone, which again is close to my 200-day moving average, which is somewhere around here, the red line that you're seeing. So for now, I believe we should see a relatively weak GBP Euro USD, and we should see that decline coming possibly into next week. Okay, but for now, we are going to stay range bound here. You could mark your levels in a sense that you'd be looking for a break of structure above that level. And in case you have a break, you can look for buys to the weekly high. Okay. So our weekly high, I believe, is, the week started on the 20th. Okay. My bad, guys. That the weekly high is actually here. So I don't expect us to get back to the weekly high, but we should get at least a move higher, possibly into this area here. And then next week should see us moving back down. Okay, so that's my play possibly for Euro USD. Guys, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, so that as I'm through with the chats, we can go over the questions. Again, if you're new to trading, there's a link in the bio for you to open a trading account and test out your skills before you can go live. I always recommend, guys, if you want to give trading seriousness, if you're a trader with FX Pesa, make sure you're using the Premier account. It has a minimum deposit of $100, but it's always the best type of account to use, simply because of the spreads that are available there, which gives you, of course, an opportunity for you to have your trades going into profits as soon as possible. Okay. Yeah. Now, this is gold. So for gold, I believe trapped a number of people on Thursday evening, and this was majorly because we had a very very sharp sell from this supply zone, which I drew. So this supply zone, gold stayed in it for the bigger part of the week, but then we had some kind of a descending triangle forming, and descending triangles are usually setups for a sell trade, especially when structure breaks below the bottom of the triangle. So you can see immediately after breaking below, we saw very, very nice impulsive moves for gold, taking it candle after candle very sharply lower. Okay. So at the moment, gold has actually been able to completely erase its gains from last week, right? If you recall, last week Friday, gold was in a steady uptrend, and I remember I advised for us to set buy limit somewhere around here, just in case gold moves higher. So our buy limit should have been triggered, and we saw a very nice move to the upside. Now, guys, if we are serious about um, marking supply and demand zones, you'll notice that gold could not stay above 2,400 for long. Okay, took it a few days, and it was already below that zone. Okay, so which meant that the best entry point for us would be closer to as high as it could go. So 2,440, 2,430, I believe those are the best entry points for a swing trade on gold. If you are late comer, you know, anywhere below the 50-day moving average was a sell. Okay. The moment price breaks below the 50-day moving average, it's always a sign of bearish momentum. As you can see, price always stays above the 50-day. When it breaks below it and stays below it, then it's normally a sign of a bearish trend, especially when it does that on higher time frames, not on your 1 minute chart. On the H4, on the daily, when it does that, it's always a sign of an uptrend. Awesome. So, of a downtrend rather. Yeah. So I'm expecting gold to make a bit of a recovery today. We should see a slight recovery, possibly to 2,358 and possibly even higher. If we get 2,343, then we should see a potential sell for gold back lower. But for now, we're in a steady uptrend, and I believe that uptrend should hold and give us a very, very nice price there for gold. So that's it from me, guys. If you have any questions, and now is the time to handle your questions. Hey, J Squad, how are you doing? It's been a minute. I hope you're having an amazing time, J Squad. Hey, Mr. Malombe, how are you doing? Bias for Euro USD, I think we've gone over that. We've said Euro USD should see a nice steady uptrend. And however, it's still in a steady downtrend for now. We should see this downtrend hold, especially from the weekly high into next week. But for now, we are going to see a bit of a recovery into the US session. Awesome. Any questions, guys? Questions. I think I've handled Euro USD. USD card, let me check on USD card. So USD card benefited very nicely from the recent CPI data, where we saw the CPI data from Canada was actually weak. We saw a very very nice move to the upside from that data. We got that data sometime around, I think it was somewhere here. So this candle that you're seeing here, okay, that candle right here is the candle for USD card, okay. So you can see we actually had a very very nice move to the upside, and of course that move enabled us to see a very very nice higher price for USD card on a rather weak Canadian data, okay. So from weak cards inflation, okay. So you can see that imbalance formed. I've marked it for you right there, okay. So you can see it right here. So we had an imbalance candle, and of course price held in this zone very nicely. So right after holding price there, we've seen that price has actually not retested or gone below that zone as yet. Okay, so um, since we have held that imbalance there quite nicely, those are signs of strong upside momentum. So you can see every single time we've been moving down, we've been having price breaking previous structures very nicely. So for now, I believe we should see Euro USD card moving higher, but really going to depend. The person asked the question. Yes, Mr. Okomo Ben, it's really going to depend on what happens with the dollar index. If a dollar index shows signs of weakness, then we should see a temporary pullback. But if it doesn't, then we are going to be aiming for that resistance level of 1. All right. All right, awesome. My apologies for that, guys. Let's just continue. Awesome. Yeah. So we were on USD card, and for USD card, what we said is that it's when you're looking at when you talk about support and resistance, you focus on major supports and major resistances. Okay, so right now, where it is right now in that resistance, that's actually a minor resistance, so it can actually break above it. The major resistance for USD card is actually up here at 1.38. Okay, so we should see possibly price heading back there, but it's majorly going to depend on what happens with with the dollar index. Okay, so keep an eye on the dollar index to observe what the dollar index is doing. Should you potentially see a relatively weaker dollar index, then it means we should see a pullback, and that pullback should hold possibly into the next few weeks. Awesome. So I hope that helps, Mr. Okumo Ben. How does one set buy limits and take profits one and two? Yeah, so buy limits are essentially pending orders that are set below price. For a buy limit, you set it below the price, expecting that if the price comes down, it's going to come and trigger your buy limit and move back high. Okay, so a buy limit essentially you set it somewhere around here. Okay, so you can have a buy limit. Okay, if price, for instance, say is moving like this. Okay, price is here, it's moving in this kind of range. A trader who wants, for instance, to catch a buy on maybe this particular asset but wants to get it at this price right here. Okay, they will set what is called a buy limit. Okay, and they're expecting that price is going to come back down and then go back up. Okay, so that's how a buy limit is set. Now when you're setting a buy limit, you simply go to, on your desktop, you're just going to simply go here. Okay, and then you right click with your mouse and then you go up here. Okay, so you have two options. You have a buy limit and sell stop. Sell stop is if you're expecting price to continue selling. For a buy limit, you're expecting it to sell a bit, trigger your level there, and then buy back higher. Okay, so you just simply right click and then it will immediately appear there. As you can see, I have a buy limit, and of course when you want to add your SL and take profit, you can do that yourself. You just have to simply add your levels there. And simply after adding your levels, you can then essentially allow price to remember, in this case, for a buy limit, your SL should be below, where you're anticipating that maybe price did not, continue buying like you expected. Instead, price kept selling. That in this case, you'd want that your stop loss is triggered, and then after it's triggered, and then it moves in your preferred direction. Okay. Now, for a sell limit, you set it above. Okay. And the idea for a sell limit, or with limits, essentially in general, limits are used by traders who have not been able to get the best levels for entry. Okay, so for instance, if you're trading like USD card, right, and USD card is not trading at a favorable price for you, let's say for instance you wanted it at this area here. Okay, now in this case you're going to use a buy limit. That's when buy limits apply. Okay, now for a sell limit it's different. In this case, for a sell limit, you're going to set it above, right? You're setting it above and you're expecting that in case maybe USD card reaches that level and you want to get a sell not right here, but you want to get the sell right here, that's where the sell limit comes in handy. Okay, it will come so that you can manage to get the highest possible price for you to get a comfortable level in case it sells. Okay, so I hope that helps with the limit orders, Mwalenga. When you're setting the take profits, you can only set one take profit for one order, right? So if you have more than one order, that means you need to have two trades, two orders, two pending orders with their own individual take profits. Yeah, so I hope that helps on setting limit orders. So with FX Presser Premier account, can you trade any lot size, including the micro lots? Yes. There is no limit on the type of lots you can open. You can open a standard lot, a micro lot, a mini lot. All that is possible with that Premier account. The reason why I advise clients to use the Premier account is simply because many clients trading issues are issues whereby, for instance, someone is right about the direction of the market, okay, but the issue comes in where their profitable trades are getting eaten up by spread, okay. So whereby you'd have maybe made say 20 $25 maybe for your mini lot, because you're paying spread to FX Pesa, you're going to actually have less profit, okay. So the catch with the premier account is that for every single lot you open, so if you're adding up your mini lots, say maybe 10 mini lots, for a standard lot, you're going to be charged about $7, okay. So, and with a standard account, you're charged less, I think about $3.5, but the $7 can pay themselves, guys. I mean, if you're making, say, 6x, maybe 10x that amount on your standard lot, then you should be able to pay for that commission without a problem, okay. Yeah, so let's all embrace the premier account. It's I know there's a catch with a minimum deposit of $100, but it's very, very little money. If you're a serious trader, $100 is really very, very little money. You should be able to deposit much more than that for any serious trading. How long? Okay, this is not clear. How long you are trading? I don't know. Did you mean to say how long have you been trading? Okay, I assume maybe that's what you meant. Okay. Okay, where exactly are physical classes and timing? Yeah, physical classes, we have them in Kampala. They're at Rumi Building. Rumi Building is near Piatto Restaurant. I'm sure most of us Kampala people we know Piatto Restaurant. So we are just a few minutes. Once you get to Piatto, we're like 2-3 minutes from Piatto Restaurant in a very nice building on the 7th floor. So that's where FX Pesa is located. So there are physical classes there at 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. So you can always come for the class, and we can be able to go through different things during the classes when you're there. Timing 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Yeah. Should you expect a pullback for USD JPY? So guys, like I think like I remember if you for this particular client, Mr. Okumo Ben, I want to refer you to my snapshot that I did. That was last Friday. We did a thorough analysis for USD JPY, and we said that there's currently what I would call a carry trade. Okay, carry trade is simply where you have more traders or more investors holding, or holding more of the other currency, the dollar compared to the Japanese yen, and that impacts the value of the currency. So we are seeing that there's likelihood that you're going to see USD JPY buying even higher. But watch my snapshot for last Friday. You can find it on YouTube. Just search for the snapshot that was done last Friday on the 17th. Okay. I did a thorough analysis of USD JPY, and I said that we're going to continue buying, and we are likely going to buy up to 160. We're going to cross 160 soon. So that level should be crossed very, very soon. Awesome. If there are no more questions, guys, I wish you all a fantastic weekend. Uh, if you need any information, if you want to find out FX Pesa's socials, you can find all those in the bio. If you're a new trader, if you've not traded before, you have all the resources you need on YouTube. There's a video which is online trading in under 30 minutes. Everything from novice to pro. You can find out all information on the YouTube channel. Awesome. I wish you guys all an awesome day, and till next time, happy trading and cheers, guys.